Hello and welcome to the Business Made Easy show. I'm your host, Fiona Hall, and this is our first show of 2017. I'm very excited to start the year off with a focus on getting a grip on time with the fabulous Robyn Pearce. And she's going to be helping us today to figure out some simple ways as business owners that we can utilise often the stuff we've already got in our businesses to get a grip on our time and stop wasting time, which is a thing as a business owner I know I really want to know more about. So I'm very excited to have Robyn here today. But before I get into that, I just want to talk about the Business Made Easy show. And this year we're going to be focusing on some quite specific areas, because I know from the research I've done and the feedback I've had from you all that there's specific areas of business that you struggle with and you want to know more about. So that's what I'm going to do. I've gone out and I've found some fantastic experts to help us get more focus and to make business easier, because that's what we're here for, right? Cool. Now, I'm going to jump into the first part of the show, which is me and my little golden nugget. So recently, actually as of last Friday, I completed my first 5-day online challenge for people. And it was building their dream work calendar, which I'm sure Robyn's going to have some great insights into and give us some tips into a bit later on. So what I got people to do was actually figure out for themselves what are the best ways to help them focus. Because we all have times when we're naturally more energetic and we work better. But let's face it, we have to work for large chunks of time, and often we need to figure out ways to get us back on task when we start to go off it. So here are some of my top focusing techniques that I shared in the course on day 2 last week, which was the Tuesday. So I'm going to share those with you today and take notes. See if there's anything that jumps out for you. Write it down as you're listening in and try them out and give me some feedback in the Business Made Easy Tribe page. So number 1, aromatherapy. I don't know if you really hooked into the whole next generation of waves around aromatherapy and using it as a technique for helping you focus. So at the moment, I've actually got some oils going at the moment to help me focus when I'm on this interview with Robyn. And rosemary is a big one to help you with memory and concentration. Lemon, cypress, and peppermint as well. So if you want to stay focused and alert. So there's my wee tip for you. Grab some oils. I recommend having a diffuser rather than a burner. There's nothing worse than forgetting about it and then burning the oils. It smells quite nasty. Plenty of sleep. That's easier said than done if you're managing a household and with young kids and running a business. I know how hard that can be. But grab a nap in the afternoon if that's going to give you a wee recharge. My favourite is my nana nap for 20 minutes, which helps me just reboost myself. So think about sleep. And don't feel guilty about jumping in and having a wee afternoon nap. Grab it for you. You need it. Eliminate distractions. Robyn and I, before we jumped on, we talked about turning off your phone and turning off Facebook and everything else that we know that we little Pavlov's dog, as soon as we hear that ping, off we go. We want to figure out what's going on. We want to respond to that incoming message. The other thing is to try working in short bursts, 25 minutes apparently, according to the Pomodoro technique. I've tried this for myself and I can guarantee I found it fantastic for really getting me focused and getting actually a really highly productive time frame. So 25 minutes with a 5-minute break. So give that a try and let me know how you find that. Meditation for those moments of overwhelm is another big one. Using a 3 deep breaths technique, which I will share with you guys later. I've got technique I learned in the meditation class, which I found when you work through this specific technique, it can really help you. Some motivating self-talk. For me, it's what do I need to do now? So we've got those huge lists of things that we often have to complete. But what is the most important thing I need to do right now? And that'll help you focus. Horizon gazing. This is another thing that I got taught. If I'm at my desk and I've got stuff on and I get stuck on something I'm working on, take myself away from the desk, head outside and look into the horizon. That just relaxes your eyes and gets them to focus differently, and it'll help relax your brain. So try that. That's a super quick one to try. And then there's mindfulness techniques. Those of you who've been following me for a while know that I took part in Chantal Hofste's 6-week mindfulness course, and I found that fantastic. I'll pop the link to her Chantal's CD in the show notes. Fantastic tools for helping me get through problems, overwhelm, self-doubt, any of those things that creep up, because as human beings we have those moments. So those are my focusing techniques. There's quite a few there. I'm sure Robyn's used a lot of those herself, knowing her. So I'm going to jump into, and now just giving you a wee bit of an intro into our guest, Robyn. So I first came into contact with Robyn's work in 2003. Oh. I read one of Robyn's books on time management, and I loved it. Really practical tools, things that was, things like Outlook I was already using, but how to use them better to make sure that my time, which as a business owner starting out, I was wearing so many different hats, I often felt pulled in lots of directions, and I found her techniques really helped me to focus and get back on track. So Robyn, for the last 25 years, she's been sharing her experiences and knowledge about time management with lots and lots of clients and readers throughout the world through her books. She's the author of 9 books and many other products and thousands of articles, and she regularly appears as a subject specialist on television and radio. If you'd known Robyn in earlier years, you certainly would not have picked her as a future international time management specialist. Through the years, raising 6 kids into single parenthood, and then she had a highly successful career in real estate. Time management was Robyn's biggest challenge. Don't they say that you learn, you teach what you learn? So it sounds like Robyn really has taught what she's learned. The good news is she won that battle with time management, and now she shares those lessons with others. She's got 17 grandchildren, and she knows to keep track of all of them, I imagine. She's one of less than 1% of speakers worldwide who hold the highest professional speaking designation, which is a certified speaking professional. She was also the 2006-2007 World President of the Global Speakers Federation, which serves 10 countries. Pretty impressive statistics. So if you want to find out more about Robyn and her books and her work, you can head over to www.gettingagrip.com. I'll make sure that that's included in our show notes. So Robyn, welcome. It's great to have you here today.
It's fun to be working with you, Fiona. I've known about you for a while. Well, obviously, we met in 2003, but your name has been sort of on my horizons there, in my awareness for a long time.
That's great. Social media is working for me. Yay.
Must be. Yes. Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So, Robyn, you're obviously getting a grip on time is a big one for you. I'm wondering, you are the manager of your own business. What would be the typical traps, do you think, as a business owner that we fall into, that we just lose track and don't have a grip on our time?
I made some notes for this, Fiona, and there are some, and I just added another one.
Brilliant.
Actually, because it triggered what it was like right at the beginning for me. So the ones that I have written down, I first wrote down was prioritising and the whole planning thing. So we'll definitely come to look at that. There's interruptions are huge. And they are different for people working in a small business. If you're home-based, there are going to be different interruptions than if you're in a business environment. And I imagine some of your members and viewers are perhaps in companies with staff around them and others are home. So there are different kinds of interruptions there. Email is when I ask people in my audiences what they're struggling with, email and interruptions actually go hand in hand. And because people find that they're just so overloaded with so much of it, it just keeps coming. And there are some really good strategies which I want to share.
Brilliant.
I've added 2 other things. And one was was knowing when to switch off, because a lot of, particularly if you're running your own business, it's how do you switch off? Everything's reliant upon you, and you're the boss, and you're the cleaner, and you're the marketer, and you're the accountant in many cases. Yeah. Depending on the size of your business. But even if you're not trying to wear all those hats, there's still a lot of things to go on. And that led me to the one that I just jotted down as you were introducing me, and that was how important it is to learn about delegation.
Yes, so much.
And I learned about that the hard way when I first started my own business, which is, as you said, was about 25 years ago. I'd been in real estate, as you said, and I'd done the whole burnout thing on more than one occasion. Eventually had ended up by a back door, really, starting to work in the field of time management. And I was working in a fairly small level, had a few coaching clients, I'd started running a few training programs, and that work had been going on for probably about 9 or 10 months, something like that. And I realised one day that I was going right back into the space that I'd been in before I started doing this work, and it was the trigger that had got me there, was that I was starting to feel burnt out again. So, not a good look. This is what I'm supposed to be good at now.
Yeah.
Not getting burnt out. And I looked around me and I thought, I need some help. When I said to my husband, I need some help, he said, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dal. And it was true. I couldn't afford it because it was a small business. It was just getting started. I was racing around doing all these things. Now, if somebody says I can't do something, that always triggers me to go, well, I just have to show them they're wrong. All right, sister. Now, the thing that happened, of course, was then I started to say to myself, what am I actually doing with my time? Now, you think you know what you're doing with your time, but I came up with a very interesting little observation when I started to really analyse it. What I did is I got a sheet of paper, just A4 paper, and turned it on its side, and I did 3 columns. So the first, so I got, this was my analysis tool, my very sophisticated analysis tool. So the first column was, what are the tasks that I'm currently doing? That was the big fact column.
Yeah.
And I was looking at what am I doing in a week. No, sorry, let me think about it. What am I doing? It was a week. I want to know how many hours a week I was doing. What are the tasks that I'm doing in a week? And if it's something that I do only once a month, for example, then I would still write it down, because in the second column, then it was a skinnier column, I wrote down the approximate amount of minutes or hours per week that I was spending on that task. So if it was, say, a task that I did once a month for an hour, I would just put 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The third column was the number of minutes or hours of those tasks that I'd identified that somebody else and this is the important little phrase, at a lower pay rate than what I wanted to pay myself, not what I was currently paying myself, lower pay rate than I wanted to pay myself. What percentage of those tasks could somebody else do? Yeah. And obviously it had to be somebody with lower skills than me, if they're going to be getting paid less than a lesser figure. Well, it was a long list. The second column was a bit of a shock. It was 80 hours a week.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
No wonder.
No wonder I'm tired. No wonder I'm starting to feel burnt out. But the real whack around the head observation was that the other list, the third list, how much stuff that I was doing could somebody else do, was 40 hours.
Wow.
Exactly. I'm going, oh, well, I won't tell you what I said, but it wasn't very polite. I was really shocked that it could be so much. Yeah. But that, of course, left me with still the existing problem that my husband had highlighted, which was, well, you can't afford somebody. Funnily enough, the answer always comes when you start searching. Yes. Very shortly after that, a friend approached me and she came to visit, and she happened to be chattering away about how busy she was, how overloaded she was, how much she was getting back into her version of burnout. And we came up with the bright idea that we could get somebody off a government work scheme. They were providing, the government had those PEP schemes, they were called. I can't remember what PEP stood for now, but
I remember back then, yes.
Yes, yeah. I didn't think you were old enough. So we managed to get a young lass off the PEP scheme where the government subsidised it. They paid half the wage.
Wow.
And my friend and I were able to go halves with her. So I had half a person for quarter of a wage.
Wow.
And it wasn't a high wage because the government plan was to get as many people as possible off the unemployment.
Yeah, which is, it's an apprenticeship scheme, really.
Absolutely. It was
sorely needed, by the way, again.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think there are still some sort of programs going, but they're not anywhere near as much advertised. So it would be a good idea to go talk to whichever government entity handles those things. I
think it's Trade and Enterprise New Zealand now.
Is it?
That wing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, wherever it is, have a look and see what government subsidies you can get for people coming to work with you. So that was the solution. And I tell you, the interesting thing that happened, after that, by the time the 6 months was up and Lillian left and went to work for my friend full-time, we had simplified the systems. It had given me time to get my nose above the rocks.
Yes.
And I could see what was going on. And I could see that there was a lot of stuff that was minutiae that in fact I didn't really need to do, and the business didn't need to do. Lillian helped do some of those things until I reached those realizations, but we got much more efficient in that 6 months time. And at the end of it, I was able to hire a school mum who lived around the corner, and I only needed her for just about 25 hours a week in reality. I didn't need somebody for 40 hours.
No.
I'd managed with Lillian for only 20 odd hours, and even that had been enough, as I say, just to get me over that huge hump.
Yeah.
So there's lots of other places you can get staff. It might be part-timers from mums who have got children at school or kindy. So advertise in your local kindy. Advertise.
Local Facebook groups are quite good too.
Well, yes.
A lot of people offering things.
Yes. And it might not be one person doing everything that you need. I've had at times 2 different girls have done things, and these days I have people that don't even come into my house.
Yeah.
And they do contract work for me, and you do the same, I know.
Yeah. Well, the rise of virtual assistants, I was even thinking, when I started in 2003, there was no such thing as virtual assistants.
Yes, that's right.
If I want something done, so I wanted my website set up, and I wanted my logo created, my business card created, and I went and what I call specialist suppliers.
Yes.
So it's people you tap into now and again, but you don't have them, you'd never, the size of our businesses, we'd never need to hire someone.
That's right. So you're not paying a salary. You haven't got the holiday pay. You haven't got all of that faffing around.
Exactly.
But the key point for any small business is to make sure that you are outsourcing as much as is appropriate. You're not doing it to the point that you're running yourself broke.
Yes.
You're doing it by gradual processes and gradual stages. And I started small, and over time, the size of my business and the shape of my business has changed over the years, as it does.
Yeah.
And there's been times when I've had more staff than I have now, but I'm managing very efficiently now with only just contractors when I need them.
And there's so much automation now too that we didn't have accessible. I look at things like, CRM system, customer relationship management systems, and your emails that, you might have sent a newsletter out or had it printed, whereas, MailChimp and other, types of Infusionsoft and all those other tools that you can use to manage and delegate. And
that's right.
It just wasn't available to us. And the whole online world has just changed the shape of business.
It certainly has. And there are many sophistications that I haven't even bothered to keep up with, because I've just got enough that I'm happy with the level that I've got.
Yeah.
But every week there are new things coming out that I hear people talking about. So just explore as much as is appropriate for yourself, really.
That's right. The key thing with that the handing stuff over, and this is my the spot that I really help businesses with, is making sure you record enough information.
Yes.
The problem is that I find that people get tripped up on in the whole outsourcing game is that they don't stop and actually look at what actually needs to happen and record it well. And so I've seen people complain and grumble about, I've outsourced something and they didn't do a good job, or they didn't do that or didn't do that. But actually have to be quite specific about the outcomes.
Yes.
The tools you're using and timeframes.
No, you used, was it you that was talking to me the other day about Trello?
Yeah, Trello is fantastic. I've just used that for my website big project.
Have you talked about this on Trello on this program before?
No, I haven't. Because
it is a productivity tool, so.
It is, yeah. It's great for tracking. I find projects, it's really good for just parking stuff, both personal stuff and professional. Like I was planning a trip to Wellington and I knew there's a bunch of things I wanted to do. So I just plugged in everything. I was like, I knew I wanted to stay, ideas for places to stay, the flights, places to go to, transport, whether to hire a car or what we're going to do. So all that stuff, I just popped it in a Trello a little project and then just different tasks, and then, you know, assign something to my husband. But back to work stuff, assigning stuff when I was getting some technical stuff for my website, my opt-in sorted out. And I just, you know, I've used WordPress. There's a lot of stuff I can do myself. But the technical stuff, I could probably figure it out, but I really don't want to spend the time wasting where I could be with clients earning money or getting new clients. You know, that's way more important use of my time. And I think that's something for you, like what you're kind of alluding to too, is like, what is the best use of your time?
Yes, it's on the back of my tips card. So my business card, here's I think you've got one.
Yes, I have.
Here's a little marketing tip for you folks. You thought it was just time management. But so that's my business card, but here's the really useful stuff on the back. Now, you're not probably, I'm just trying to get it close to the screen.
I can see that's nice and clear.
Can you read that? Oh,
yeah.
Good. And on there, one of them says, it's number 3, constantly ask, what is my highest priority right now, and do it. So, and there's a whole bunch of useful tips. Let me just talk about it as a marketing tool, and then we'll come follow back to that. I have had significant financial rewards by having these useful little tips here. The thing is, a lot of people's business cards, they have it about themselves, and it's you use it as contact information for sure. But what is it that your particular clients really want to know about? What would be of value to them rather than just telling them about you? And
nice. If
you've got something on the back that's going to be a keeper for the other person, they're more likely to keep it, and then they'll remember you when you want it.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I give these out at every course and every seminar and every speech that I give, and people have often come back and said, "Oh, I've got it on my wallboard or on the corner of my computer, this side showing, not that side. They don't care about this side." And it's in my wallet. And
that's really cool.
I've had people call me up and say, I've got your card here, and would you come and do some work for me?
Oh, that's a really good tip, Robyn. I like it a lot, because funnily enough, I've got 2 big major networking events I've got coming up in March, and I'm just about to go through and get my new cards done. So I've made a note of that wee tip.
Good. Okay. Now back to back to this highest priority.
Yes.
What I'd like to share is, and I'm just going to, might be a little bit clumsy, folks, just bear with me, but I'm just going to go to the share screen and show you a little diagram that I've got. And before I go there, I'll just explain what I'm going to show. In fact, to tell a story about it, is that some years ago, I was living in Sydney by this stage, and my second to youngest son had just finished at university. He'd done very well. It was his 21st birthday, and it was summer holidays. All of these lovely things all came at once. And so James and his friend Richard decided they'd like to come over and visit Mother in Sydney. So the boys arrived. And I'm telling you this story because it was the trigger that got me to come up with this really simple analysis of something, and I'll explain where I'm going in a second. So it was a lovely sunny morning. The boys said to me, "Oh, Rob, we're off to Manly Beach today. Would you like to come with us?" I thought, that's really nice. The boys want to take Mother to the beach. I wasn't thinking about where their attention might be when they got there, but we'll come to that directly. So this is lovely. The boys and I get down to Circular Quay. We got on the ferry, and off we headed across the harbour to Manly. And we were about 2 minutes away from the jetty at Manly when Richard, my son's friend, turned to me with some enthusiasm, and he said, "Rob," he said, "I'm really interested in this topic of time management." And then he threw me a really good question. Before I tell you what the question is, here's the thing. The quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. He gave me this really good question. He said, "Rob," he said, as I said, I'm really interested in this topic. What's the guts of it?
Oh, nice.
And of course, what does that do to your head when somebody throws that kind of a question? What does it do to your head, Fiona?
It makes me think on a deeper level, because it's like, what's in it for them?
Yes.
Not me showing how clever I am. It's really getting into how I add value. And do I know it really well?
Well, all of the above, and also it could have been an overwhelming kind of a question.
Oh, yes.
Because, like, I know enough to talk for several days.
Yes, yes. How do I distill it?
Yes, and here we've got 2 minutes before the jetty pulls up and we're going to change in actions, and this kid wants the guts of it.
Yeah.
And I found myself answering in the way that I'll just show you when I'll just
Right.
to the share screen. That's it. Now, this is the one I want to show you. Now, can you see that all right, Fiona?
Yes, great.
Good. I answered Richard, not with this pretty diagram, obviously, at that stage. I went away and developed that later, but this was the guts of what I shared with him. We have 4 things that we need to cover if we want to have a good management of our time.
Yeah.
First of all, the big picture. What is it that really matters to us? What are our goals? And I've broken it down into 4 key areas, as you can see there, just to make it easy, because that gives us focus and clarity. And I heard you talking about focus just at the beginning of our session. So, because if we don't know what's really important to us, how on earth do we know where to put our attention?
Great point.
There's one other quick element I'll add in there, is that the most powerful time management tool we have, and I do have it on the back of my card, it's the first one on the back of my card, is that no is our most powerful time management tool.
Yes, I agree.
There is one qualifier, not in a career limiting or a relationship limiting way. But being prepared to say no when things are going to take you off track from the things you want to do. And that can happen on an ongoing daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in reality, it's not always the word no. It'll be some other word. It might be a deferment or an alternative suggestion, or I can do it at another time but not now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's blunt no.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, is the big picture. The second part, I said to Richard, is planning and prioritising. We need to know how to do that.
Yeah.
The outcome of knowing how to do our planning, and I'll quickly whistle through the things you see there on the screen. How do we make the distinctions between the urgent versus important? Because the urgent is the one that makes the most noise, but the important is where we're going to get the value.
Yes.
Which leads us to the second point of developing a proactive focus. We've got weekly planning, how do we do that? And daily planning, how do we do that? And Fiona, I won't go into depth on those today, because what I have on my website is a free report called How to Master Time in Only 90 Seconds. And what I'd suggest that people get hold of that, and you might like to put that into your notes as well, is go to the website and just download that free report. It's available on each page on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
At least currently it's on the right-hand side of the screen, but somewhere there we're just about to change the website look soon, but there is a free report. So grab that one and it'll talk you through the specifics of the planning and prioritising in that column.
Nice.
The third element, I said to Richard, is the tips and techniques. How do we do things faster, more efficiently? What are the shortcuts? And the things that you do, like helping people with their systems, is an example of, would fit under that whole simplification of things, the efficiency. Would you agree with that?
Oh, completely. That's totally my business.
Exactly. And I like it. It's really important. By itself, it's only part of the story, however.
It is.
You need to have the other elements, and you need to have the fourth one, I said to Richard, which is the sanity gap, which is the quality of life. So how do we look after ourselves? How do we nurture ourselves? What restores us? Because one of the problems that a lot of small businesses do is they work too hard.
Yeah.
They don't switch off, and so they'll do burnout, and then they're no use to anybody, whether it be family or business, if they're burnt out and exhausted.
I call your sanity gaps. I call that downtime. Downtime.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is, and you can see some examples there. And I heard you mention about naps, and I'm a big fan of naps, and I've got that there as you see on.
Yeah, I love naps.
So, folks, if you want a copy of that, that is included in with the little handout that I mentioned.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you, Robyn. That's very generous of you.
My pleasure.
I love the overview. I love, the way that you've just mapped that out into 4 simple little areas for people to get a handle on. And I imagine it goes from left to right. Like you need to start.
Yes.
Through.
And of course you go from here, from the big picture, you work through those ones. In actual fact, you end up back at the beginning again, really, because the sanity gaps is the quality of life. And probably, I could do it circularly as well, and it would still have the same result.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because really, having a quality of life is going to be part of your bigger picture for 99% of people.
How often would you think that people should review this? Because our life changes. I mean, I think about myself as a 20-year-old. or, you know, in my 20s when I went to university, you know, that would have been very different from when I got married and wanted to have kids, you know. How often do you think people should review this?
Well, I suppose it's hard for me to answer because I'm talking about it all the time, so I'm reviewing it on a sometimes basis. But I would say if you looked at that annually, just like you look at big picture goals, think about it at New Year. Whether we do anything about it is not always the same thing. But yes, I would suggest annually. And just as a little sort of spot check really on how you're going. And what I say to my audiences is, so which of the areas are you interested in learning more about? And here's some ways. Actually, I'll finish the story about Richard, then I'll tell you how you can use it. So I ran through this really quickly. It took me about 90 seconds to go through this with Richard. The ferry pulled up. The boys did carry the bags until we got off the ferry, I'm happy to tell you. And then I really came to the conclusion the reason I was there was to provide the money and look after the bags. While they, bless their hearts, went and enjoyed the scenery. And if anyone knows what the scenery is on a summer Sydney beach.
And how old were they?
21.
Yes.
I don't need to go any further, do I? So we all had a very nice day, but the outcome for me was slightly different than it was for them.
Yes.
The high points were different for me because I went back to my office and I started thinking about what I'd said to Richard, and I realised that really, and this is how I suggest people use this, is what I had just spurted out of my mouth was really essentially a diagnostic tool.
Yeah.
And I would really encourage you listening to use it in that way, just as Fiona's just said, to review it and just look at it and think, now, which are the things that need some attention now, not only necessarily for yourself, but also for the people around you.
Yeah.
So if you're finding anybody that's struggling with anything, review it against this little diagnostic tool, because that is really what it is. And it'll give you a direction to go to expand people's education or your own.
What I know with things like this is sometimes we start uncovering things and we go, we get stuck. We get into overwhelm just by examining things. Accountability is a biggie. So having a buddy to do this with obviously would be a great idea. And if you're, in a relationship and you've got a partner, sitting down together and doing it, I imagine would really help. Right.
Yes. And that whole matter of the goal setting, I really encourage people to do that on an annual basis as well.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people like you and I talk about that all the time, but it's really surprising to me. No, I'm not surprised anymore. It's happened consistently every year. But every time I talk about that, there's only a very small percentage of people in any sized audience that, unless it's something like a network marketing group where they really are pushed to set their goal. Almost always, there's probably somewhere between 3 and 5% of a room have got clear written goals for the coming year or more or further.
It just goes to show how important it is to have some accountability somewhere, doesn't it?
It's huge.
As business owners, we're the boss and we've got this power to choose what we do. And unfortunately, none of us are that good at holding ourselves. Majority of people I come across, myself included, aren't that good at holding ourselves really, really accountable.
But that's why a buddy is really important. Where you come in, Fiona, working with people, I just think what you're doing is really fantastic.
Thank you.
And if you think about like a couple of weekends ago when we caught up at a writing weekend, and I don't know how you've been going, but there was a note came through from Catherine, our tutor, that just this morning as to how you're going. I've been mucking around on a different kind of writing, and you know this, but I'm just telling the lovely people listening.
Yeah.
I've written so many non-fiction books, six big non-fiction books, and then other ones as well. As Fiona said, what did I've told you 8 or 9 or whatever it is, something like that. I've lost track. But fiction writing is a whole different conversation. And so going to that course and getting number one was inspired, and that's what you do with people, is with your program, that you're inspiring people. But it's also breaking things down into a goal and having a mentor to help break it down. And I set myself a small goal, a daily goal of writing 500 words a day.
Right.
And I've been doing it.
Nice work.
And I've been mucking around for years doing this. I'd written about 6,000 words over about 5 years. Hello. Yeah. And now I've written 3,500 words.
Nice work.
Yes.
Nice work.
And it's the goal, it's the breaking it down, it's all of those things, and it's prioritising.
It is prioritising. It's a biggie.
So whatever it is, folks, that you're really wanting to get on with, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Please do make sure that you download that free report.
Yeah, and the key thing, I suppose, is when you're looking at what you need to add in or what you want to do is what you're chopping out, because for everything you put in, you got to take something out. It's like, the wardrobe stylist talks about, for every item of clothing, you've got to take something out.
Yes, and it's coming back to that point 3 that here, what is my highest priority right now? So those things, they just all weave together in this really lovely way.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Robyn.
Now, the number 2 one that's on this card is every week block in a few important but non-urgent activities, which links us back to the diagram that I just showed, and being more proactive about things. So things like the writing, the sorting the wardrobe, the preparing the new marketing material, whatever it is that you're needing to do, is not talking to you, Fiona, but to your lovely listeners.
Oh no, I need it as well.
So what are these things that are going to have a long-term impact, but they're not urgent right now?
Yes,
it's so easy to get stuck into the urgencies.
It's the working on the business activities.
That's exactly right. What we could do, because one of the things, I'm just thinking what we might like to talk about next, would be perhaps the email. Do you think that would be useful?
I think there's going to be a lot of people going, yes, tell me about what I can do to manage my email, because I know it, as you know, it's one of the biggest things that people are challenged with.
It's because it's an interruption as well, and there are just a few key things that I really encourage people to do. Let me just be a little bit strategic for a few minutes. One is, and sometimes I get flack with this when I've written, like I've been a writer for the Herald Online, the business in the Herald, small business section in the Herald Online for, I think, about 5 or 6 years. And just today I got an email from the editor saying, I'm now going to be just monthly. I've been weekly for all those years, and now I'm going to first Wednesday of the month from February on. So no, this is February. March, must be March, I think. It'll be the first Wednesday of March from now on. But there was one article that I wrote for them which I said, don't do email first thing in the day. And oh my goodness, that was interesting. It was like I was killing somebody's baby.
I can imagine. I don't do email first thing either.
Yeah, well, thanks. Thanks for the endorsement.
What I noticed is I would go straight. Well, it would trigger an anxiety response in me, because I might open it and have lots and lots to go through, and just think, well, it's just too much to start. Or I think, well, I need to action this. I need to respond to that, but I don't have time to do that. Mm-hmm. So it would just get it would be too much. So I got into the habit of doing other things. It probably was reading one of your articles that prompted me to do that a long time ago.
Yes, I've been beating that drum for a very long time. Yeah. And it's not just me. It's also pretty much every time management person that I know, or anybody who teaches Outlook as well. Yes. They will say, do not make that the absolute first thing in the day. It might be the second or the third thing in the day, depending on what your work is.
Yes.
But the very first thing of the day should be, at the very least, apart from making the coffee and doing the normal things, would be to review what your plan is for the day. Yeah. And ideally, and it very much depends on what a person's work is, ideally you would get started on something that's a bit meaty and chunky, high value, before you go to emails. Now, there are exceptions to that, of course. If it's somebody who's got a customer service role, or you've got customers sending things all the time, see what you can do to block them to be what I call chunked. And I love the word chunking or blocking, or there's other words for it. I can't think of anyway, chunking.
Yeah, blocking or chunking, that's what I refer to.
Yes, is having blocks of time that you work on other things and then go into a block or a chunk of time on email. And so somebody that needs to be very customer responsive, it might be that you do 5 minutes looking at the email, anything that's high urgency, then you get out of dealing with the new mail that's come in, and you just are working on, your business may revolve very much around email, but you might be working in Outlook composing things, but you're not looking at the new stuff coming in all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about how to not be disturbed by the new stuff in 2 seconds. A little bit more than 2 seconds, but so the strategic things is not doing the email first thing. Oh, and another thing I just want to say, if you don't have to do email constantly, see if you can get an hour or a couple of hours done in the day before you even look at it.
Yeah.
It just depends what your work is. For me, I would probably, most of the time, I would be looking at email maybe 3 times a day.
Yeah, I try and do 2. I tried to do, I experimented last year and played around with it, and I did mine after 8:30. Because I usually get up at 7 and I do my social media posts and stuff around then and just check things.
Yes.
And then after 8:30, after I've dropped my kids.
Yes.
And then again around 2:30.
Right. So you've still got some daylight left.
And then I don't check it again until the next morning.
Well done, you. That must have been amazing.
Yeah. And so what I did was I started putting a note on my signature replies.
Great.
On my email just to back it up. But it took me a while. I tested it around. I tested a wee bit to see just how I needed to work, because we're all individual, as you say.
Yes.
But yeah, I played around with it to it worked for me and clients.
Good. I'll just share the story of a lovely lady that I met when I was speaking at a travel conference in Australia some years ago, and I was just in communication with her again yesterday, in fact, called Kim Mason. Now, this company is called Travel Managers. They're an Australian offshoot of House of Travel here in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was their national conference. All of their staff, there is a Travel Managers in New Zealand, which is a different organisation.
Mm-hmm.
Travel Managers Australia, all of the staff work in their own homes. And pretty much every travel agent will tell you that it's a really fast-paced, you've got to be constantly on it, etc., etc. If you have a look at, if you went to travelmanagers.com.au and looked up Kim Mason, you would find her lovely smiling face there, and she sets the rules as to when she's available. And she tells people, so this links in with planning and prioritising as well, but it also is an email story here. She tells, even on the website, she says, I'm available Monday to Thursday between 11 and 3 and Fridays by appointment only. And what because I was given her name as being a really top performer, and before I went to the conference, I wanted to find out what some of the techniques were, and I was given Kim's name, which is how I found out about her. And what she also shared with me, I mean, that's visible on the website. But,
that's great.
And then I got her to come up and speak about it on the platform as well, was that with email, she will look at it once an hour.
Yeah.
She'll do about 5 to 10 minutes maximum, and then she'll go out of it again. And she won't look at it again for another hour. So even in that very fast-paced kind of career, what she was doing, you see, Fiona, is she was blocking the interruptions.
Yeah.
So she was able to focus for 50 minutes of every hour, or 45, whatever, giving yourself 5 minutes of go to the toilet and get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
She was able to focus solidly on the real work and then just be really focused on the email when she was doing that. So it's this
nice.
So that was
obviously why she's so successful, because she's not running around like a chicken with their head cut off.
Yes, and there's some, she's notified. It's another of the little statements that I share with people is we educate the people around us how to treat us.
Totally. Isn't it Dr. Phil you teach people how to treat you?
Yes,
it's one of his catchphrases. I remember from years ago when I was stuck on the couch breastfeeding for hours and watched daytime TV.
Right, I can remember stuck on a couch reading books for hours while I was breastfeeding. Didn't watch much telly. Anyway, I couldn't digress on that, but let's stay on task. Another thing, just to that point with Kim, the other thing is she really has seriously educated her people. I will just give you one little example. There is a level of self-esteem that is implied behind all of this, but she shared the story of how she had a really high profile media person in Sydney whom she was doing travel for, and this lady rang one Friday night at about 7:30 when Kim was definitely not in the office and had made it quite clear what the rules of engagement were. This lady rang and she said, look, Kim, I'm out with friends at the moment and I haven't got my schedule with me. Kim had been booking some travel for her. Would you mind telling me where I'm going after I've been to blah blah blah? Kim said, look, I'm really happy to do that. Give me a call on Monday, I can fill you in.
Boundary setting.
Wow. Yeah, she kept the client, but the client did not get the information that night.
Nice.
I was so impressed, and I was really happy to have her share that with her colleagues on the platform, because that's such a powerful thing.
Oh, yeah.
But and the reason I share that about Kim, and it's this conversation about interruptions and what we're allowing people to do, is people steal our time. So just be careful about that, folks. Now, let me get to these promised tips on email. So what I'm going to do back again is, let's just get the screen share thing going. Screen share, and I'm going to show you, I don't know what's come in since I've been starting talking to Fiona, but we'll just share screen, and I'll go to my emails, and there we go. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to show you about is to turn off the alerts, because that's one of your biggest interruptions. So I'm working on Outlook 10 here. So where I've gone is File, so it's right over on the left-hand side. File, you might want to write this down, Options. And when you go Options, you go then to Mail, which is the second one. And down here, you'll see Message Arrival. You can see that all of those are unticked.
Great.
So you don't want any of those showing, and that will stop you having those interruptions coming in. Well, just one point on interruptions. The average knowledge worker in today's business world loses between 25 to 27% of 28% of their working day due to interruptions.
Wow.
So a minimum, for most people, and some people it's more, will lose good easy quarter to a third of their day on interruptions of one sort or another. Some of them we create ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
We're allowing them. If things are pinging and flicking and flashing on our screen, there's a high chance that we're going to stop what we're doing and look at it, and then you've got that break in your thinking, and it's the switching from one thing to another that will slow you down. So
what's I read statistics a long time ago about the amount of time it takes you to get back up to that level of productivity.
Yes, I do know that. If you've taken an interruption, we used to say 15 to 20 minutes, but now the later research says it's time related. It's between 10 to 20 times the length of the interruption.
Right.
So you've taken a 30-second interruption and you think that's insignificant and it won't take you any seconds at all to get back. You're kidding yourself. It will take you to get completely back into flow, unless what you were doing was extremely low level. And most of the time it will take you, a 30-second interruption will take you 5 to 10 minutes to get back onto it. And then there's two other pieces. If you ever do, because how often we take an interruption and we get distracted completely.
Yes.
And then the other point is, how long does it actually take to get back into flow?
Yes.
And that is about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, because it is, because
fully focused.
Yeah. That's what I noticed when I started practicing that Pomodoro technique, is that I just would get into.
I think it's the Pomodoro.
Pomodoro, yeah. Sorry, that flow just seemed to be a lot faster by having everything, but having the timer really helped me.
Yes, I think that was a great strategy.
Yeah.
So that's the message arrival. Now, the other one I want to show you is, I'll just cancel out of there. I want to just show you signatures, because you talked about signatures before.
I love signatures.
Yeah, so do I. So let's, I'll just show you first of all a bunch of my signatures. I'll get myself down here into the message area, into the body of the mail. And now I'll just show you my range of signatures, all of those. Oh, there's a few tests in there that I've been showing.
It hasn't popped up. You might have to
switch. Okay, are you seeing my computer?
What we can see is your inbox still, so it hasn't
switched over.
Pop up. So you might have to switch over to sharing the pop.
Oh, it says my screen sharing is paused. Let me just, resume share. Yes. Now, what can you see now?
I can see your
inbox. Just the inbox. Okay, let me just see what.
Swap it over to.
Okay, if I stop share, I'll just stop share. Go back to get this thing open. Untitled message. Now I'll go back to share screen, and let's see what shows up. Share screen. I don't think it's. Oh, here it is. Let's see. How's that? Is it an empty screen?
Yes, we're there. You have us. Yay!
Fantastic. Technology. You're good at this, Fiona. Now,
you've been using it for a while.
All right, good girl. Signature. Now, there's all my signatures. So let me show you a quick demonstration. Right. So when I first moved into the country, I wasn't able to, I could give a street address, but we didn't have Google Maps at the time.
Yes.
So here's the driving directions from Auckland out to my place. So with one click, it's there. Here's my full signature. There.
Great.
Here's my coaching inquiry. Thank you. So I've got it set up as a template, and I'll give you one more.
Is there an attachment on there as well, or no?
I haven't, in actual fact. Can you do attachments in with this?
Be
able to
I think I'm using the latest version of Outlook. I've just upgraded.
Okay, to 365.
Yeah. So I think
you may be able to do it with this one too, but the reason I wouldn't do attachments is sometimes things change. So year on year, I would usually check if it's something that I so frequently.
Good call.
So that's the signatures. Now, what I want to show you is how to do it. Now, tell me whether this is.
Yep, we can see.
You can see. Okay, so here we are back into Mail again. So back in Options, so I'd gone File, whatever I did, back to Mail. And Signatures is the third one down. And this is where you do it. Now, this is my Christmas greetings, for example, but let's suppose it's a new one. So you have to put, I'll just put Fiona. Fiona, I can't spell now, I'm online. Okay, so you've got a blank, you write whatever you want to write, blah, 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 and you'd go okay, and now Fiona would show up. And then you would just do the same thing, so I'll cancel out of there, and now I'll just do Fiona, and there it is.
Great.
My gobbledygook. So, folks, what I suggest you do is think about, I'll just stop the share. Where do we do? I'll stop share for a second while I just talk you through, and then I'll go back and get into the regular one again. What you're looking for is anything at all that you are consistently writing, turn that into a template. So that's another tip. And then now I'll just go back to screen share again, and I just want to show you one more thing.
I set up a whole bunch of those because I had a client for her. We put she had images once a quarter. She was in fashion styling, and she had every quarter she had a show. Fashion show. So we just set up a whole bunch of things around that, which was great. It was so easy for her because she had a lot of text in there.
Yes. Anything that you're regularly writing, it's perfect. So now the other really quick one, I'm not going to go into rules today because I don't believe we've got really enough time to do justice that would be a separate session. But here's one, for example, I'm doing this event in Wellington. A lot of people don't know that you can save writing time by clicking and dragging. So here's an email from somebody, and I'm going to leave that. At the moment it's sitting in my inbox, and I'm going to just click and drag it. Now, before I expose Calendar to you, I use a paper diary, so you won't see a lot in my calendar, but I just want to show you. So it seems to, I've dropped it into Calendar, but you notice that Helen's email is still sitting there. So now I'm going into Calendar, and where it is actually is it's over here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Item? It's shown up. Okay. So you have to go along down on the bottom usually. Sometimes you'd have to go to Calendar, but I go looking for it along the bottom. That's where you'll find it. It seems to sit behind the open screen. And then you've got all of the details. There's all the stuff that we want to do. And you'll just set the date. Now I'll just make it for 2:00 that I'll follow through the rest of this with Helen, etc., etc. Save and close. It's still there, but now I go to Calendar and it's there.
Great.
And there's that whole email. So no extra writing required. So that's a really simple little thing.
I love that. I love that. I tried Gmail for a year. I persevered.
Yes.
And I've just gone back to Outlook because I just couldn't understand it. It looks so much more intuitive.
I think so too. So there's many more things. I'd love to talk about rules, but on my website, gettingagrip.com, go into the articles or blog, I think it's blogs now, and just type in the search box. I'll just quickly show, does that show, are you seeing? No, it's stopped. It's, you're not seeing my website, are you?
No, at the moment we're seeing...
still the Outlook.
Inbox, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't worry about that one at the moment. So we'll just close that. We'll just, where am I going here? Don't want to lose use, Fiona. A stop share, that's what I want.
Brilliant.
Okay, you're back.
Cool.
All right. But if you have a look at my website, gettingthegrip.com, and I think it's in the blog section. There is a search button, was what I was trying to show.
Fantastic.
You. And you just look up how to keep your inbox empty, and it's about how to do rules, because I just love rules.
Me too. They've saved my life.
There are a couple of key points there, but I won't get sidetracked there. And the last thing I just want to share with you really quickly is knowing when to switch off. And really that is being really meticulous with yourself about setting the boundaries, making yourself accountable to somebody else. There's lots more we could talk about on that topic, but it's such a big trap for people running their own businesses.
It sure is, Robyn. I heartily agree. And being able to switch off, I notice, there's a lot of people who complain about, I was up till 10:30 last night working, or, I'm trying to do my social media stuff and trying to respond to stuff, and just getting burnt out and crashing.
So it's be prepared. We've touched on many of the solutions. Is be prepared to push back, be prepared to say no, look to simplify and minimize. And the things that you were sharing right at the very beginning, they're all part of that. It's better to focus on doing one or two things really well than trying to be across all your social media platforms, potential social media platforms, trying to do fabulous newsletters, trying to be the world's best salesperson, etc., etc. Focus on what you do well and get other people to do the stuff that you're not so good at or not so interested in.
Fantastic, Robyn. There's one question I ask my guests at the end of every show. If you could go back in time to when you first started a business, what's the one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Well, it's probably the things I've already shared.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you just answered that one, really.
It's to get that help as quickly as you possibly can on a small scale, what you can afford.
Yes.
And it's to schedule in, go in advance and book in the family times and the restoration times. Like I've got holidays and family times booked in for the next year.
Same. Yeah, I went through and did that. That's the first thing I did.
Oh, there is one good. There's one other thing I've just thought of, and that is just try and have at least one day a week where you're not going to meetings.
Yes.
So that you've got a clean day where you don't have to get in the car or get dressed in your fancy pantsy clothes or whatever it is. You don't even have to think, so that you can be in creative mode. One of my friends, Tom Poland, he just talks about having a one day of the week where he makes it Wednesday is your marketing day. It's not called Wednesday, it's called marketing day.
Yeah. I tend to do that on Fridays. I try not to do anything. I might do a walk and talk business with a business colleague. And so we just start off with an early morning walk, and that puts me in a real creative mode.
Yes.
And then I come back and then I'm working on the business. I try to make Fridays my working on the business day.
Yes. And I'll do Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah.
Actually, and I endeavour to concentrate as much as I can my client work, out-facing work, Tuesday to Thursday.
Nice.
It doesn't mean I'm not working on those other 2 days, but if I want to take a long weekend, I can.
Yeah, no, that's a really good tip. I like that one.
I've come up with a different one for you for the end. There you go, Fiona.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. It's just amazing to connect with you. I love everything that you say. I completely endorse everything you say. I think there's a lot of us that, probably started in business and fell into business, and we've had the framework of a large organisation around us that has set when we work and how we work.
Yes.
And the transition into being your own boss is quite a difficult one, and managing our time will stop us from getting to burnout and let us still love the business that we've chosen to create.
Yes, exactly.
Because we can fall out of love with it quite quickly if we're so stressed, can't we?
Yes, we can. And I just remembered I didn't show you
your new book.
Latest book. Yes, Getting a Grip on Parenting Time. So if any of you are business people and parents, there's lots of help in there.
Fantastic. I'll make sure all the links are in the show notes.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to you, Robyn, for joining me today and taking some time out. I know that you've popped out away and you've scheduled a little bit of work time in with me today, so I really appreciate your time.
Now I'm off to go and do some sanding and varnishing on the classic yacht I sail on.
Lovely. I want a photo of that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure. Take